just went around the edges of the teak and cleaned it. I'm going to tape it off before I do my painting primer, but I wanted to have a clean surface. Murphy's oil soap, natural ingredients, works great. So prep is everything, and I have blue taped off the area where I'm going to paint. I'm not worried about the middle there, but everything's going to get painted with the bonding primer. We're going to fill these holes here that aren't going to be used, this one and this one, and that was from the old faucet and that was from the old double faucet. We're going to use this one and that one for a soap dispenser. So let the painting begin. So we're just going to try and get a coat of it all over here as smooth as we can. And the finished product is going to have sand and painting on it, so it's going to be fairly forgiving. This surface is like a marbled formica, so it's going to be a little lumpy anyway. So here we go. I'm going to paint, and I'll show you the next step. So I'm using this DAP caulking to fill the holes that I'm going to fill, and then I'll smooth them out. The caulking will shrink when it dries, and then I'll put some spackling compound on top and have that be part of the surface. Well, there it is. I'm going to wait for it to dry, do the spackling, and then be done with it. I hosed or vacuumed and pulled those old hoses out from underneath there, and then vacuumed around. We still have a lot of work to do, but prep is everything, and cleaning up as you go is everything. Jay went ahead and painted the sand colored top on the formica on top of my bonding primer, and did a really nice job of getting a smooth, even coat. You just barely see those holes we filled. The product that I used for the epoxy pour over, purchased on Amazon and delivered, and it did quite a nice job. It's very important with these mix epoxies that you stir them thoroughly to get the complete mix. Otherwise you'll have spots where it's hotter than others, and you'll have to sometimes even start over. So the stirring seems tedious, but it's quite important. And just like in other YouTube videos, you actually pour the epoxy around your surface and then smooth it out. If you have a level surface, like anywhere else in the world but a boat, you'll notice that the epoxy will just level to the gravity of it. On a boat, I didn't realize Isaac had filled the water tank, so I started pouring a little bit to athwartships, and it caused me a little bit more blending than I thought I would have to do. Use the little blending scraper and just keep moving it around until you get it level. Around the sink there were some little funny areas that I had to be really careful with. After the epoxy is leveled out, you may notice some little tiny bubbles that just happen in the process of the epoxy curing. If you epoxy pour directly onto a wood surface, you can get a lot more air bubbles, so you should always do some kind of priming coat. But the recommendation is to use a heat gun, sort of on a medium setting, and just don't keep the heat focused on any one point for too long. It'll make a blurb in your epoxy and melt it. So you just keep it moving like when you're blowing your hair, and watch for the bubbles to come and go. And until the epoxy actually cures, you can get the bubbles out. So anyway, that's how that works. So after that was all dry and set, we reinstalled the sink, the new faucet, and the soap dispenser. And I'm quite proud of the results. It's a little amateurish art-wise, but I made it look a little bit rough and rustic. I'm not a portrait painter, but I do love to dabble. So you can change the look of your old Formica and sink. You can change up your head and make it pretty just with a few touches. The turtle epoxy job went so well that I looked at the electric head's toilet cover and it looked like someone had sliced fish fillets on it or something. It was all chopped up. And when I sanded it to try and smooth it, it just looked ugly. So I decided I would paint a pretty picture on top of the toilet seat. And this is how my mermaid turned out. It was quite nice and functional until we decided after guests that the electric head really didn't work well with a small holding tank that we have. Since we have lots of guests, we opted to switch that toilet out. So this was going to be about the finished product of my painting and contribution, but we had several guests who don't understand how to use an electric head, and they fill their holding tank over capacity. So to eliminate that issue in the future, we went ahead and switched to a Jabsco twist and flush head so that less water would be used and the volume could be controlled more easily. So in installing that, Isaac went ahead and used our laminate floor panels and put them underneath the head as a floor base to cover some of the holes from all the old toilets that have been in and out of there. And this still looks quite nice. I have some other areas in there that I can do some painting and make it a little bit more decorative, but this is basically the finished product, and we're quite proud of it. It did raise the price of our remodel from $92 to $250, but the twist and flush is a nice toilet, and I think we'll be happy with it for a long time.